Nkunku, Fofana, Tomori, you're all out.
Love the exclamation
Odogu,
point at the end too. Like
and Odogu as well has been put on this list. We also already know about Santi Jimenez and Estupiñán. Kind of a waste of time to talk about those players. Odogu, not fully sure if that's a permanent sale, would be insane. That's like waste another 10 million down the drain from the Furlani side of things. If you really think about that, if that player's gone, who knows what's going to happen? The guy barely plays like 18 minutes last year. Enkunku, Fofana Tomori, not surprising. We have seen and read these reports for quite some time. Nkunku looked like, Matt, he was going to stay towards the end of the window, just internal replacement for Leao on that left side. Listen, there's an injury history there. There is a talented player, but again, we always talk about this. Wasn't brought in by Amorim. You risk another year of poor play, he's not worth shit. Do you agree with the Nkunku sale? And then we'll talk about Fofana and Tomori.
I do agree with the Nkunku sale. And let me be clear that at the time of Milan buying him last summer, it wasn't that I disliked the player, the quality, the pedigree that he brought to the team. I thought that, the Chelsea situation, let's be real, has been a disaster for many players, not just him. So I was willing to chalk that up to saying, okay, that's Chelsea. It's more indicative of where they're at as a club versus where the player's at. I like to think that in the right system, under the right coach, he actually could have had, maybe a good year last year in Milan. But obviously, we did not see that. I know he kind of picked up some steam in the middle of the year, and he had some penalties towards the back end of the season, but 2 open play goals. He looked kind of out of sorts in most matches, with the exception of a couple here and there. And I just feel that, okay, fine, you wanted to evaluate the players.
Right.
It's not that I disagree with the decision to put him up for sale. It's why now? Why now? Why did every single player have to come down to the final 2 weeks, 3 weeks for you to be like, okay, now I've seen enough. All 8, 9 of these players you had no sort of feeling about? None of them. None at all. Where you were like, coming into Milan, straight off the rip, let me look at the team. No, yes, maybe. Okay, fine. There's 5 guys I want to get rid of, and there's 2 or 3 that I'm like, I really want to see because I think I can utilize them. If he came in with that approach, I think fans would have been a little bit more on board with that, because maybe they would have felt maybe, a Musa or whoever is Alexis 2.0, in that I can actually work with this player. He might not be a starter, but he might be a role player that we can use. Right? Like in the Musa position, right? Where I don't like the player that much, but I kind of can see a little bit maybe why Amorim wants to use him, because he likes the versatility side of it more than the actual quality in a given role. That's the frustration I have, because now every single club says, we know you want to get rid of him. You think you're going to strong arm us into giving you a permanent deal or an obligation? That's the concern I have, is do any of those players in that outgoing list get sold on a permanent basis? Some of them have contracts expiring in 2027, Tomori being one of them. You're not going to get a huge fee or a loan deal there. So
no. I think they definitely will. I think
there's certain guys in that group where you're like, man, like
I'm not
Martino, let me just say this, and then I'll let you go. We have a lot of people that have been promoted or hired that are good talent identifiers. They have an eye for quality, right? I think that's the feeling that some people may have. But it's another to negotiate deals and to formulas. And when you don't have a true sporting director that has a pulse and grasp on what it takes to maneuver this part of the market, I get really concerned that we're going to get absolutely crushed in some of these deals. That's my concern.
Well, that's not on their fault though. That's because of the players that they have at their disposal.
No, I get that, but
I know. And I'm the one who said this for years with Moncada. I've literally, on repeat what you just said. I've said this nonstop. And I believe it's Almstad who's going to be the one negotiating this sort of stuff, and Calvelli will be there. That this isn't on them. I'm sorry. I'm not aligning with people who are like saying, like, what, who can you get? Who are you bringing in? Even if it's like Galliani, to sell shit players to somewhere else that that are not a part of your current project with this manager. You have no leverage, one, because you're not in the Champions League. You're in Europa League. You failed multiple seasons in a row. You haven't liked these players. These players haven't produced. And Tomori's point is you got 1 year left on your contract. It doesn't matter who's in here. They're not going to be able to get good money for these players. It doesn't matter what great sporting director, if you kept Tare, is going to be able to sell Leao for good money. That's not going to happen. And especially when he's refusing the Saudi side of things, right? Yeah. For the places that would pay you a lot of money, that's not happening. So I understand that. You're always going to be losing money when you have this disastrous of a season. And again, we could look at the people that are currently here. This is past management. Yep. This is the damage long term that happens when this shit goes down, right? How long? We just gotten out of an FFP agreement, Matt. Are you kidding me? We started podcasting how many years ago? In 2017 together. When did that happen? The FFP issues. It happened that fucking summer, okay? And that took nearly a decade for it to go away. So the long-term effects of bad management can reverberate for years. And that's the problem that I'm having, where people are kind of unfairly, in my opinion, jumping down this new management. I'm not saying you are. But when people are trying to redirect your anger, there's only one person here that's been a common denominator, and that's the owner. And now if he wants to come in and say, this is my fingerprint now, if I was deflecting and allowing, like, you know, guys like Furlani to do their job, whether it was right or not from Jerry, you can't allow this to get to that point. And that's what he's done. And now he has to fix this situation, and he's maybe working with Amarim for it. I do think Fofana, Tomori, you'll get money for them. Nkunku, I'm not entirely convinced by that. It's an expensive salary. He's got an injury history. What kind of fee are they asking for is the other part of it too. Estupinian, I don't expect a permanent transfer. Mora has seemed to have fallen through for Porto and Roma. So I don't know if the Santi Jimenez transfer is also going to happen at this point. But I still think a loan with option is still doable for whatever club. And that's just not going to be at the number you want. Mm-hmm. And to me, when we're talking about the Almstadts, the Barbie Gardners, and all these other people, it's about what you have to take over and what you're dealing with. What are your options? And I agree with you, should have taken some time. If some people want to use this like World Cup excuse that it ran into late July and they didn't really have as much time to get the group together, and I don't fully agree with that. I really don't. I really don't.
You have footage. I mean, let me.
I agree with you, right? He's watching the matches. What else are you going to learn in training? I guess
this was raised by the Sempre Milan crew. I listen to their podcast pretty much every time I'm commuting to work.
Yeah, you plug it every episode. Yeah,
and I always mention it. So shout out to them. They do a really good job. Go check them out and check out their podcast. They mention it too. It's like, it's not like old time, but man, there's no YouTube, there's no video footage, there's no video analysis team or a team in analytics that's saying like, hey, here's a list of players that I think, here's we want to keep. Here's a list of players I want you to take a peek at. Here's some footage. Here's some footage of the past couple seasons under different managers. They have all that. These teams are forward-thinking, modern, and contrary to popular belief. I know it's difficult for people to hear that an Italian team is forward-thinking, right? But like, a lot of these clubs have a department of scouting where these things come into play and saying, hey, I'm going to give you 5 players. Here's some footage on, here's some general analysis. Here's some reports on them. And I want you to kind of come to those decisions. If you picked out 2 or 3 guys in that list and you said, yeah, I think we should get rid of this guy. I don't see him in this position. I don't see him here. I don't see him working with this formation. Okay, he's got to go. These 2 I want to look at. Let me go through a couple preseason matches with them. And then I can come to that determination. But I know there's a lot of work to do. And I know we need to get going with this. So I need to be a little cutthroat in the way I assess this group and saying, these 4 or 5 got to go. These 2 I want to watch a bit. I don't know. I don't, maybe that was a conversation and maybe there was just a lot of dragging of feet and pushback and differences in the way they wanted to go about it. I don't know. I just find it very interesting that Jerry's coming up and having the conversation. And it's like, on the 14th, after the market's been open for quite a bit of time, that it's just like, yeah, now we got to go and get 5 guys in. Yeah, now we got to go and sell 7 guys. 12 type of deals in the last closing weeks of the market. Why are we making it so difficult on ourselves? And Milan are the only team, if it feels, that they can go out and spend $100 million before any other team in Italy. Fill their 2 major needs.
They're not even broke. That's the annoying part.
And still disappoint fans. Think about that.
Because it's the way they do business. Every single time, it's the way they do it.
It's always a
and,
saga,
and again,
it's always
and again,
drama.
and again, it's not to say that they don't have potential deals lined up. We don't know. Ramos and Gila popped out of nowhere. And I'm not here to say I have faith in this management. I've talked to plenty of people in my replies all the time, like, oh, like, how could you say? I'm not saying this. What I am saying is, like, we kind of don't know. And this is my new rule every time a new management comes in. We have to let them operate to see how they work things, right?
Yeah.
Like, we knew Furlani was a shitty negotiator. He had his guys, and he would do business so poorly all the time. Except he got one piece of credit for this. The best piece of business that Furlani did was the time that he's not even involved with the club anymore, which we'll talk about. The Fofana thing, the Tomori thing is fine. It kind of seemed like Tomori wasn't getting the message. And here's the other thing, too, that had been reported, Matt, that we kind of didn't mention. Jerry Cardinale has said to the players that are out of the project, and if they don't leave, you're not playing, and they're going to send you to the stands, and it'll be an Origi situation with these guys. And I got to say, I kind of like it because I like forcing guys out that have no business staying here. And this isn't a vacation that you stay at this club and you think you can collect this paycheck and contribute absolutely nothing. At the very least, he's putting his foot down and being like, no, either you want to sit here, waste years of your life and your career, not playing for us, or there's the door. And we'll even take a loss on deals just to do that.
Yeah.
Which I do respect because you're taking out the trash. Whether or not we like these guys as players and people is another thing. They made a concrete decision. And if you don't align with that, you don't agree with it, there's the door. And I think you got to go. Are you fine with every name on this list leaving? Like, take out the time of the market that these deals are happening. Are you fine with Nkunku, Fofana, Tomori, David Odogu, Santi Menez, and Estupiñán all leaving? I got to be honest with you. Every single name listed there, I'm fine. You could go. Maybe Odogu, loan deal. I think it's silly to kind of permanently sell. I don't know. But the rest, you have no future here. You're gone. That's fine with me.
You know, I'm probably going to get a lot of slack for this. The one player in this group that I feel wouldn't be the end of the world if we kept him.
I know what you're going to say. Yeah, I knew it.
And the reason why I'm saying Fofana is because I look at the way this team is constructed, specifically in the midfield. When it comes to the types of profiles we have, I don't know. I look at this team and I think we're going to be playing a more aggressive style of football. We're going to be really pushing up. We're going to be really pressing. We're going to be doing a lot of that. And for all the brain farts and, switches off in the final third that Fofana has had in a Milan shirt, I think there would be some room here where, he's a rotational option where he can do some of the lifting going forward. Again, I don't know. I'm grasping at straws here. Like if you had to ask me a name, which you did, I was like, that's probably the only one because truthfully, like Santi, no, Estupiñán, no, Odogu is a kid. He's not going to play. Either it's a loan or permanent. I'm fine with it. That's probably the only guy because this was a player that I actually thought would deliver much more when he did arrive at Milan. And I think, yes, he's at fault for why this didn't work out the way it probably should have. But I also think it's never easy when you get you had Fonseca, then you had Conceição, then you had Allegri. Now you have like a new coach. And I think people can like lose sight of that sometimes. Again, I'm not the biggest fan of Fofana. I know the clips. I've seen
I know
clips
what you're saying.
Him running full field, looking really good, and all of a sudden just missing and whiffing on a chance. I get it. But I just think I look at this midfield and I go, is there enough physicality in the midfield? There's enough workers? Like Modric is 41.
I guess that hinges on Yashari and what level he could show.
Ricci's not that guy.
Yeah.
Komodo's a teenager. Like, think about it.
Komodo's
how many players we have in the midfield that you feel can carry some of that. Now you're thinking, okay,
I want to know where's Warren Bondo in all of this?
He's gone too.
I know, but
I haven't seen any clips of him. I haven't seen anything of him. Anything.
And he's not even a bad player. That's like the funny.
He's going to be a Serie A player. Like he already
was good at Cremonese. It's insane.